for him, and he be able to love Master that way. And Master was not once to mince words. He said, how can a little cup contain an entire ocean? And he was not, of course, making fun of Swamiji. He was just saying that open your heart and I will come and expand it. Another time, Swami asked Master, Sir, what is the difference between the consciousness of an avatar and an ordinary human being? And Swami presented an example, you might say a yardstick. He said, is it like between a human being and an animal, a dog, let us say, which Master said is one of the most evolved animals? And Master said, oh no, it's more like a human being and a worm. And biologically, I know a worm does not even have a spine, as they say, a proper spine. So you see that, again, Master was trying to say that I can flow through you more, I can bless you more, but you have to invite me. So let's then sing this Kirtan with that welcoming of the Masters, the opening of our heart. Come, please keep moving forward. Yeah, Tejas, Neeraj, come. And Bhagyashri, anyone comes, na? If they want to sit, send them in the front.
Shivaya.
Let's offer a prayer together. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, Friend, beloved God, beloved Gurus, Jesus Christ, Baba Ji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, beloved Master, dearest Swami Ji, we humbly bow before you all. We invite your presence in this temple, in our hearts. Fill us with your joy, your light and love, and use us as instruments to share that consciousness with all our brothers and sisters. Come to us, guide us in this coming week, and keep us ever closer to Thee. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. That was the spirit of chanting. That first chant. A chant like that takes you out of the building where you're staying. And a chant like that can take you out of this world into God. It takes you into God. If you chant like that, you don't have to chant for too long. So, Pratapji, is the door closed? Yeah, fairly. Yeah. Bhagishri, keep an eye. Should not be latched because if people want to come. So that chant, Om Namah Shivaya, I'll just share briefly. And one time, Swamiji was repeating certain things. This was towards the end of his life. And he said, when I read the autobiography of a yogi, I took the next bus, 4 days and 4 nights. And then next talk he would say, when I read the autobiography of a yogi, I was in New York, I took the next bus. And he gave like 12, 13 lectures like that, and he was going like 8, 10 times he was repeating that story and other stories. And one person next to me said, I feel bad. I said, what happened? Like, oh, don't you see Swamiji's lost his mind? I said, why do you say that? And like he's repeating himself. He's been saying the same things over and over again. I said, no, I don't think he's lost his mind. I think it's a very important thing. He's simply, let's say, telling us the impact the millions of people, thousands at least, read the autobiography. How many jump on a bus, 4 days, 4 nights, find themselves at the feet of Yogananda or in these times some other teacher or at some center. And Swami was trying to say that what he had become was because of that hunger he had. So anyway, you're free to say, I'm losing my mind. Actually, that will be quite a feather in my cap if somebody says the same things they said for Swami. They say, Aditya has also lost his mind. Because I'm going to repeat myself. The little echo is coming on this. And what he was saying was that what I was trying to say is, just yesterday I was sharing in Balewadi, and I've shared this over the years for that chant Om Namah Shivaya. And I share it because each time maybe there's somebody new, and it's a very important principle. Now when you sing that ancient mantra, it is often sung during Shivaratri, during days of Shiva, for invoking Shiva, that consciousness. And Master said that, again, when you sing, you can think of Shiva, you can think of that image, that spirit of complete outward, inward renunciation. But he said more important is that you invite, you're opening. See, that chant is not very different from Door of My Heart, because you're inviting that consciousness through the Guru, especially if we are disciples over here, and you say, Master, break through my limitation, end the cycle of my limited understanding, end my ignorance. And ignorance, yes, ultimately you might say the ignorance that we are separate from God, that we need to find God, that we have found Him, that is the absolute overcoming of ignorance. But even in small ways, Master, I'd like tomorrow, my first day of the week, to be very happy. I'd like to go to my office rushing with willingness, enthusiasm, creativity, friendliness. Now you see, that would be different from who you were last week. You see, so what has ended is, and Master said in one of his poems in Whispers from Eternity, he said, "Oh Divine Mother, again and again and again you mercilessly," he said, "broke my cage of flesh and bones." And then he talks about cataclysms over there and world calamities and relationships and how death came to him again and again. And he wept, but she didn't stop. And then he says that, "I thank you, Mother, and I thank you now. I see why you were destroying all those things, because the one thing you destroyed through it all was my ignorance, that I was any or all of those things." So it is like we think sometimes we have a difficult job finding God. Well, God has a very difficult job too. Which parent likes to crash and break and every toy and delusion? They don't like to. But on one level, if we are loving God, but we are not able to invite that consciousness, then it is like Swami says, you're pushing the door from both sides, and how is it going to open? So that chant has, and I was sharing yesterday, it can bestow tremendous power if we are able to say, "I bow before that destroyer of delusion, that Master come." And remember, he will not destroy you. He will destroy your delusion, because people have again this love and fear relationship with Shiva. Oh my goodness, if Shiva comes, what will he do? Well, he won't do anything. He's loving. He's called Bholenath. He's called, he's very compassionate. And keep that in mind, that he understands that we are all stuck at a certain point, and to get us unstuck and more expanded in our experience of God, in our view of life, in our view of who we really are, he comes. And that is again, that joy of that liberating effect goes back into that mantra, and it gives it power, isn't it? So it's a wonderful rhythm also, but it's also very powerful, because it's almost like self-perpetuating. That mantra gives itself so much power that's coming from the freedom it generates for us. Open wide I keep for thee, door of my heart. Open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord, will my days fly away. Without seeing thee, my Lord, night and day, I look for thee, night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee, night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Let's meditate for a brief moment. I'll request the copy of autobiography I had over here to be given. I'd like to read something from it. I'd like to read from Master's autobiography. The chapter is I Go to America. And this is when he got the invitation to go to Boston and as he was making his preparations. One early morning, I began to pray with an adamant determination to continue, to even die praying, until I heard the voice of God. I wanted His blessing and assurance that I would not lose myself in the fogs of modern utilitarianism. My heart was set to go to America, but even more strongly was it resolved to hear the solace of divine permission. I prayed and prayed, muffling my sobs. No answer came. My silent petition increased in excruciating crescendo until at noon I had reached a zenith. My brain could no longer withstand the pressure of my agonies. If I cried once more with an increased depth of my inner passion, I felt as though my brain would split. At that moment, there came a knock outside the vestibule adjoining the Garpar Road room in which I was sitting. Opening the door, I saw a young man in the scanty garb of a renunciate. He came in, closed the door behind him, and refusing my request to sit down, indicated with a gesture that he wished to talk to me while standing. He must be Babaji, I thought, dazed because the man before me had the features of a younger Lahiri Mahashaya. He answered my thought. Yes, I am Babaji. He spoke melodiously in Hindi. Our Heavenly Father has heard your prayer. He commands me to tell you, follow the behests of your Guru and go to America. Fear not, you will be protected. After a vibrant pause, Babaji addressed me again. You are the one I have chosen to spread the message of Kriya Yoga in the West. Long ago, I met your Guru Yukteswar at a Kumbh Mela. I told him then I would send you to him for training. I was speechless, choked with devotional awe at his presence, and deeply touched to hear from his own lips that he had guided me to Sri Yukteswar. I lay prostrate before the deathless Guru. He graciously lifted me from the floor, telling me many things about my life. He then gave me some personal instruction and uttered a few secret prophecies. Kriya Yoga, the scientific technique of God realization, he finally said with solemnity, will ultimately spread in all lands and aid in harmonizing the nations through man's personal, transcendental perception of the Infinite Father. With a gaze of majestic power, the Master electrified me by a glimpse of his cosmic consciousness. In a short while, he started toward the door. Do not try to follow me, he said. You will not be able to do so. Please, Babaji, don't go away, I cried repeatedly. Take me with you. Looking back, he replied, not now, some other time. Overcome by emotion, I disregarded his warning. As I tried to pursue him, I discovered that my feet were firmly rooted to the floor. From the door, Babaji gave me a last affectionate glance. He raised his hand by way of benediction and walked away, my eyes fixed on him longingly. After a few minutes, my feet were free. I sat down and went into a deep meditation, unceasingly thanking God, not only for answering my prayer, but for blessing me by a meeting with Babaji. My whole body seemed sanctified through the touch of the ancient, ever youthful Master. Long had it been my burning desire to behold him. And take the next few lines very deeply in your heart, what Master writes. Until now, I have never recounted to anyone this story of my meeting with Babaji, holding it as the most sacred of my human experiences. I have hidden it in my heart. But the thought occurred to me that readers of this autobiography may be more inclined to believe in the reality of the secluded Babaji and his world interests if I relate that I saw him with my own eyes. I will remind you, don't have to on one level, maybe you're already doing this, keep the autobiography of a yogi by your bedside. I know Mansi ji for years has been carrying it in her purse and giving away her copy, filling it again with another copy. And it is, what can you do? It's almost like just 2 days ago somebody was saying that, I said, how is it going with this book? They're reading it. And she said, it's been 4 months. I have not been able to finish it. And it's really like that. I used to run a library in 2008 in another part of Pune. And a college student was one of the members. And he would come, take a book, come back in 2 days, 1 day, 3 days, take another book, another book. And one day he took Autobiography of a Yogi, and he came 5 months later. And when he came, I was like, because we had become good friends, I said, where were you? What happened? I thought you joined some college or course or got transferred. He said, oh no, that book you gave me, Autobiography of a Yogi. He said, I am able to read through books very fast. But he said, I also like to understand. I never skim through them. And he said, I just had to stop at every other paragraph. He said, what a book, what a story, what a life. And then, he was so happy to hear that in that very building, Swamiji, a direct disciple of Yogananda, was living there. I believe he came to see Swamiji a few times. But the thing is that just touch this book, in the sense, read a little bit, reflect on that, meditate on it. I was also sharing because even this account, as beautifully and as generously Master has shared it with us, seems a little bit historical. That was 1946 when Master was writing it. Babaji must have come to him, I believe it was 1920 when he was set to travel to the US, but maybe it was 1990 or 1920 most likely, early part of 1920. But, friends, it happened again. There was an outreach in one of our countries that we are doing. And when we came to know, when a request came from there, the person said that two saints came in my dream, and they said that we want to help with the spread of Kriya Yoga now in this great land. And they said, when we bought the book Autobiography of a Yogi to learn what is Kriya Yoga, how can we help, they said when we flipped through those pages, the two men were there who had come in the dream of one person, and it was Mahavatar Babaji and Lahiri Mahashaya. That, like Jayaji, Jyotishan Deviji, many others, they have reminded us that they are aware of, as Babaji said, of the complexity of modern times, of cities, of busyness, internet. It's not like once somebody said to me, Aditya, don't you think God, he said, I believe God created the world, but I believe it went out of his hand then after a while. And so don't you think so? I said, things don't go out of God's hand like they go out of your and mine, brother. I said, it's very much in their hands. It has become a little challenging, little fast for you and me. But that's exactly why Babaji is one of the reasons maybe that he's retaining his form. And why in modern times, I'm telling you a story which is not even 10 years old. This was recently. And we may not see them, but is it not enough that they are seeing us all the time? That he has promised that he will retain his form? That alone should be just like 2,000-3,000 kilometers. That's how as big India is. That's how close Babaji is. He lives right here. And keep that in your heart. Keep that and I liked very much how Babaji replied. Every word is worth meditating on. When Master wanted an answer from God, Babaji said, God has asked me, I'll read that again. Our Heavenly Father has heard your prayer. He commands me to tell you. Now, this is important. Swami said, God works through instruments. So he chose Babaji as an instrument. And then he continues. He commands me to tell you, follow the behests of your Guru and go to America. That through the Guru, again, he was telling Master had this deep desire that I want to know from God. But you see, Master said God never flouts his own rules. He came through Babaji. Through Babaji, he's saying what your Guru has told you is exactly right. And he's confirming it. And of course, it was a deeper desire of Master that I want to see Babaji. And he was able to see him. Of course, the deeper reason, as we know, was Master said he was Arjuna in a past life. And Mahavatar Babaji was Krishna. He said Babaji was my Guru in that incarnation. So, what a divine drama. What a divine drama. Just to be part of it fills you with thrill that something is happening through us also. And we have to cooperate. Swami used to say God has a beautiful chapter written for everyone. He said, but we have to cooperate. Just like Master said. He said, tickets were done. Passport was made. Guru had promised. He said, go. But Master said, I still want to know from God. If there are so many checks and balances that I will not do anything without God and Guru telling me. Well, that's when Babaji knocks on your door. That God has sent me. Mukunda is not listening to 3 things I've already told him. Why don't you go and once again remind him? I thought it's very, very sweet. I met the founder chairman of Symbiosis College one time. Twice I've met him related to classes and such. But each time we met, I took a book of Swamiji for him. This is Mr. Mazumdar. And it was so sweet. And he said, "Oh, Kriyananda, yes, yes, I met him twice." They had a common friend in Sri Karthikeyan. And I said, "Oh, sir, how was your meeting?" He said, "Oh, it was wonderful." He said, "I've never seen anybody who is 85 years old, but whose opening words are, 'My Guru told me, my Guru told me.'" He said, by that time, most people in India proclaim themselves as Guru. But he said he was so sweet that he kept saying, "My Guru told me. Why are you in Pune? My Guru told me to do this." And he said he was very childlike. He was full of light. He was so powerful all at the same time. And it is just beautiful to keep that in mind, these very nice but simple things. So let's do one or two more chants and then we will meditate again. And also I was sharing that maybe because we, like I said, there was a Kriya initiation just till an hour ago. And then this morning a batch of Hindi Kriya initiates are there getting ready for Kriya initiation. And it's a beautiful thing. It's just, it just takes time. But if you look back in history, changing the world is not, Swami said, amazingly that desire comes in many a hearts. Okay, in the next few years, I'm going to change this world. That's the beauty of how God has created us. Almost this infinite potential springs inside of us that, okay, I'm going to do that. And then you realize that it's not my work. Maybe I should change myself. And then by and by, as the time progresses, yugas progress, it is certainly on the mind of masters and they're working in that direction. No matter what we do, where we find ourselves, let us come back to this chant, the message of this chant. Rest in God, live in God, in His love, in His light, in His joy. And you can add any positive quality that you are aspiring towards. It could be peace, calmness, energy, love. Think of God as that quality and call to Him to come to you in that quality, and let's then live in that consciousness. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His love, in His love. Rest in God, live in God, in His love, in His love. Rest in God, live in God, in His love, in His love. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, His love, in His love. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His Now, Sanika, have you brought your guitar? Come, nonetheless, join me. Do some clapping. Give me a rhythm. We'll be singing Listen, Listen, Listen to my heart song. And it's a very beautiful... Come. Oh, there's a guitar here? Oh, perfect. So, Sanika, why don't you go and tune it, and then we'll play. With the guitar, the song reaches a whole different level. And this is a beautiful chant. And I don't have to say too much about it. Patanjali said, when we find God, he says God, that experience of self-realization, he says, comes as a smriti. And Swami used to really emphasize on that. He said it's a divine memory. It is an awakening. We awake to that reality. Wait a minute. God has been with me all the time. I just never, it's like a good friend. You don't call, he doesn't call. You don't call, they never call. And when you call, you're like, hey, why didn't we talk to each other? And Master says he's the nearest and the dearest. And he says, but you need to talk, you need to read, you need to meditate, so that your memory, which has now layer upon layer of incarnations, so much time, so many experiences, so many personalities, so much restlessness in the world, distractions, that it makes us forget that God is within me. And Master said, if you remember that God, I remember you, I'm calling you. Like Divine Mother, she came to Master. One time Master was so busy. He said, Divine Mother, I'm sorry. For your sake, I'm doing so much work, I'm not able to meditate and be with you. And she instantly appeared and she said, oh, Mukunda, in missing me, are you not always with me? that is, she was reminding him that don't feel there is a separation. So let's keep that in mind. So you want to do a test, a chant, the trial? केदार इसको बीच में रख देते हैं. We'll sing this for maybe 8 to 10 minutes. Ready? Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee. Oh, I will never forsake thee. Let's meditate for a few minutes. I'll read a few other extracts. You can keep your eyes closed. This is from the last few chapters of the autobiography of a yogi. The chapter is called The Years 1940 to 1951. Master writes, the Hindu scriptures extol the yogic science because it is employable by mankind in general. The mystery of breath, it is true, has occasionally been solved without the use of formal yoga techniques, as in the cases of non-Hindu mystics who possess transcendent powers of devotion to the Lord. Such Christian, Muslim, and other saints have indeed been observed in the breathless and motionless trance, Sabikalp Samadhi, without which no man has entered the first stages of God perception. After a saint has reached Nirvikalpa, or the highest Samadhi, however, he is irrevocably established in the Lord, whether he be breathless or breathing, motionless or active. Brother Lawrence, the 17th century Christian mystic, tells us his first glimpse of God realization came about by viewing a tree. Nearly all human beings have seen a tree. Few, alas, have thereby seen the tree's creator. Most men are utterly incapable of summoning those irresistible powers of devotion that are effortlessly possessed only by a few ekantins, single hearted saints found in all religious paths, whether of East or West. Yet, the ordinary man is not therefore shut out from the possibility of divine communion. He needs for divine recollection no more than the Kriya Yoga technique, a daily observance of the moral precepts, and an ability to cry sincerely, Lord, I long, I yearn to know Thee. I'm trying to find an extract between Master and Dr. Lewis. Give me a minute or two, please. Here it is. So I'll read a few pages over here, friends. This is where Master's autobiography ends, called At Encinitas in California. Yogananda ji writes, my companion in the chapel, Dr. Lloyd Kennel, the San Diego Center leader, was smiling a little at the words of the song. And the words, just to let you know, in the previous paragraph are, in this world, mother, no one can love me. In this world, they do not know love divine. Where is there pure loving love? Where is there truly loving Thee? There my heart longs to be. Tell me truly, Paramahansa ji, has it been worth it? He gazed at me with an earnest sincerity. I understood his laconic question. Have you been happy in America? What about the disillusionments, the heartaches, the center leaders who could not lead, the students who could not be taught? Blessed is the man whom the Lord doth test, Doctor. He has remembered now and then to put a burden on me. I thought then of all the faithful ones, of the love and devotion and the understanding that lay in the heart of America. With slow emphasis I went on. But my answer is yes, 1,000 times yes. It has been worthwhile. It has been a constant inspiration, more than ever I dreamed, to see West and East brought closer in the only lasting bond, the spiritual. Sincerely, I added a prayer. May Babaji and Sri Yukteswarji feel that I have done my part, not disappointing the high hope in which they sent me forth. And Master then sings another song. I'll continue into the next paragraph. Paramahansa ji, please come outdoors. Dr. Lewis, on a visit from Boston, smiled at me pleadingly from outside my window. Soon we were strolling in the sunshine. My companion pointed to new towers in process of construction along the edge of the fellowship property adjoining the coastal highway. Sir, I see many new improvements here since my last visit. Dr. Lewis comes twice annually from Boston to Encinitas. I'll pause. For anyone who feels the center is far away in Pune. Rajarsi Janakananda, he would come as often as he could, taking 4 flights, I feel, because I calculated, I saw what did Master said he would fly. And Master used to pray when he was flying. So I looked up what were the flights like at that time, and they were short distance. So he would fly 3-4 flights one way, meet Master, often just on a weekend, and then go back. So here we go again. Yes, Doctor, a project I have long considered is beginning to take definite form. In these beautiful surroundings, I have started a miniature world colony. Brotherhood is an ideal better understood by example than precept. A small harmonious group here may inspire other ideal communities over the earth. A splendid idea, sir. The colony will surely be a success if everyone sincerely does his part. World is a large term, but man must enlarge his allegiance, considering himself in the light of a world citizen, I continued. A person who truly feels the world is my homeland, it is my America, my India, my Philippines, my England, my Africa, will never lack scope for a useful and happy life. His natural local pride will know limitless expansion. He will be in touch with creative universal currents. Dr. Lewis and I halted above the lotus pool near the hermitage. Below us lay the illimitable Pacific. These same waters break equally on the coasts of West and East, in California and China. My companion threw a little stone into the first of the oceanic 70 million square miles. Encinitas is a symbolic spot for a world colony. Their enthusiasm is just so childlike. That is true, Doctor. We shall arrange here for many conferences and congresses of religion, inviting delegates from all the lands. Flags of the nations will hang in our halls. Diminutive temples will be built over the grounds dedicated to the world's principal religions. As soon as possible, I went on, I plan to open a yoga institute here. The blessed role of Kriya Yoga in the West has hardly more than just begun. May all men come to know that there is a definite scientific technique of self realization for the overcoming of all human misery. That's worth meditating on. Overcoming all misery, Master writes. And these are the last couple paragraphs. Far into the night, my dear friend, the first Kriya Yogi in America, discussed with me the need for world colonies founded on a spiritual basis. The ills attributed to an anthropomorphic abstraction called society may be laid more realistically at the door of every man. Utopia must spring in the private bosom before it can flower in civic virtue. Man is a soul, not an institution. His inner reforms alone can lend permanence to outer ones. By stress on spiritual values, self-realization, a colony exemplifying world brotherhood is empowered to send inspiring vibrations far beyond its locale. August 15, 1945, close of Global World War II, end of a world, dawn of an enigmatic atomic age. The Hermitage residents gathered in the main hall for a prayer of thanksgiving. Heavenly Father, may never it be again. Thy children go henceforth as brothers. Gone was the tension of war years. Our spirits purred in the sun of peace. I gazed happily at each of my American comrades. Lord, I thought gratefully, Thou hast given this monk a large family. Let's reflect and meditate just for a minute or two on the plan God had, how through the line of our masters, Christ's request to release the teachings of Kriya Yoga once again, Babaji's blessing and initiation of Lahari Mahashaya, through Lahari Mahashaya, Sri Yukteswarji's discipleship, Sri Yukteswarji in turn training our master, preparing him for a world mission, and master in these lines beautifully completing that work. and seeing a beautiful vision of the future, which now, almost 8 years later, we are enjoying world over. Let's take a moment to gather these blessings in our hearts, in our minds, and to give them fresh fruits through our daily living of these teachings and sharing them with others. Let's meditate for a minute. Let's rub our hands together, share these blessings with the whole world.